Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue. Now, coming up today, we're going to pay a visit to Trenton Country Club. We're going to look at the club's history. We're going to talk to the club historian and also to Trenton's superintendent. Llanerch this year hosted the Pennsylvania Open. And right at the top of the leaderboard were two Philly guys. And the Golf Association of Philadelphia was at Waynesborough for one of GAP's majors. It was the Patterson Cup. And on hand was a Hall of Famer. How about this? He wasn't a golf Hall of Famer. He was a baseball Hall of Famer. It was Mike Mussina. And Mike was caddying that day at Waynesborough for his son. So stay with us. They're all coming up next here on Inside Golf. The 28th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf, the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, and Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia section of the PGA.
Golf is the great equalizer. For many, this journey is an escape from reality, a chance to be part of a team, a career opportunity. PGA Reach impacts lives through golf by lifting people up, giving them hope, and sending them down an alternate path that they never saw coming. With PGA Reach Philadelphia, as in life and in golf, the most important shot you take is the next one.
And welcome back to Inside Golf. Okay, leading off our show today, we're going to go to Trenton Country Club. You know, it was restored by none other than A.W. Tillinghast. How about that? Tilly's courses now are being restored. He made a restoration back before 1920 at Trenton Country Club. So we got a little history lesson for you. Let's take a look and a listen.
Trenton Country Club has a long and proud history of involvement in golf. They brought in Tillinghast to redo the course and really made it a first class that attracted notable professionals at the time, including John McDermott, who was our first United States Open champion. Our first pro, Jimmy Norton, went to Boston to play in the great match that was won by Francis Ouimet. So we've got some true golf history. We've got some true involvement by the titans of industry, and we've always been supported by our community.
When you pull in the driveway here and you come around the tennis courts and you see the circular driveway with the columns and this very beautiful old stately building. To me, that just screams Trenton Country Club. 1897, been around since then, one of the oldest clubs in the region, one of the longest private clubs remaining in its original location. This building is referred to as the Oakland's home, and it was owned by a private homeowner, ultimately, who decided with some others to form a country club. Hired a guy named Jimmy Norton as the first head golf pro, who actually helped to design the opening 9 holes. Originally, this was a 9-hole course.
Trenton Country Club is probably one of the few, if not the only, courses that are still on the original spot where the course was built. So we are largely within the city limits of Trenton, admittedly on the outskirts, up from the main line that goes through Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, New York City, and on up to Boston. So it was a primary location that featured the manufacturing of the Roebling steel plant and the steel that built the Brooklyn Bridge, that built the Empire State Building, and the Golden Gate Bridge. So it was a very prominent stop for many businessmen, for many industrialists back in the 1920s.
So we're now entering the Roebling Room, right at the heart of the Trenton Country Club clubhouse. And what's special about this room, in addition to being one of the first things that members and guests see when they arrive at the club, is it really does encapsulate the history of this club. The portrait over the fireplace here in the mantle is of Ferdinand Roebling from the Roebling Steel Company. We have the main dining room for the club here on your left, the Stockton dining room, ample bar area, outside terrace area. On weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, this place is pretty filled up with members and their guests enjoying the cuisine here at the club. One of the cool things about the interior of the clubhouse is this wall here that you see that has reproductions of old articles along the timeline that you can see shown at the top on the banner, starting 1896, 1897, the founding of the club. But interesting storylines. Dance tonight at the club. We work down into the 1916s and 1920s. We have some particularly interesting stories like headlines that said, Tam's wife says she first drank the police and wanted her to act like other women, took her own gin to the club. We have talks about some of the competitions that were here, some of the other stories that I think are particularly curious and or humorous. I'm trying to find it. Talks about the greenskeeper of the country club dies in his car, country club caddy is shot, case mystery. Again, these are all from stories of the neighborhood back in the day, and it just adds a little twist to what is otherwise a very formal building.
Trenton has a very proud legacy of formality. Back in our history, our guests would sign a book announcing their entrance. In that book, you have names like Theodore Roosevelt, you have entertainers like Bing Crosby that did come by, in addition to all the industrialists that were here at the time. We're very proud of that legacy. The guest book is something we cherish. We're having it repolished, if you will, to make certain that it lasts another 100 years. Each guest that has an opportunity to play Trenton Country Club has taken one look at the scorecard and said, this is a bit of a short course. I can handle this. And certainly after they play number one, a hole that was designed by our original pro, Jimmy Norton, they might come off the first green thinking that. I always laugh when somebody says I can take Trenton because it's not a problem, and all of a sudden they're in deep trouble by the time they come off number four.
Back in that day, a lot of construction was done at grade, meaning they didn't push mounds of dirt into piles and make greens. They kind of just went with the land. And we still have a lot of golf holes here now that are really, really strong golf holes built at grade. And then Tillinghast, when he came in the 1920s, sort of touched a couple of different green surrounds and really left his mark on these high flared edges, and technology was advancing, so people were able to hit the golf ball higher and generate a little bit of spin. So he was able to stay ahead of the modern day of golf and do some different design features. But I think those two features together make a really, really cool and fun golf course.
Trenton Country Club golf course has a kind of a reputation, I think, unfounded as being an easy golf course. It's not. It's short, but it's not easy. Greens are small, a lot of slope on them. You got to hit targets on the greens. And there's, we have our number 3, which is a par 3, is dubbed the hardest par 4 in Mercer County. Plays a couple hundred yards uphill to a green that's not particularly receptive, and you gotta hit some real good golf shots. In my 10 years, I've seen a lot of change here, for the better, all for the better. Most recently, the membership approved a significant investment in the course with regard to not only our master plan, which was developed about 5-6 years ago, and some of the things that we're doing to achieve that master plan, but more recently the significant multi-million-dollar investment in a new irrigation system. The irrigation system we had was 45 or so years old and giving us issues, as you might imagine, and that has been a huge step towards really elevating the playability of this golf course. And so for the bombers that used to go out and just say, doesn't matter, I can hit it anywhere, I'm still going to be able to get home in 2. Not so much the case anymore because you're hitting out a couple inches of fairly gnarly rough. That being said, it's a fun course to play every day. There are courses that you love to play, but you're happy that you're only playing them once every month or once every couple of months because they just beat you up. Trenton doesn't beat you up. It's an honest golf course. You can shoot low scores. You can also shoot high scores. You got to hit the ball straight and you got to hit the ball to the right places on the green.
With the new irrigation system, that's become even more apparent as opposed to just grip it and rip it. Maybe take a club down or two and really emphasize hitting the fairway, staying out of the rough that's now thick. Get spin on the golf ball and hit some of these greens that are tight. That's the defense of small golf courses, tight green complexes. That's the defense, and I think people overlook that a little bit. And it all comes down to how you manage. And I try and manage a lot of things at Trenton, from the Oakmonts, the Shinnecocks, pushing the pace. And every morning, if our staffing levels are a little low, we're always trying to do more than we should be able to do that morning, and that helps keep our pace up. That helps keep the playability up for the members, especially during years like last year and this year when Mother Nature just throws some crazy temperatures at you, crazy humidity levels, and we can really be in control of what we're doing while trying to do more than we probably should be doing on the golf course each and every day.
Members have a choice of country clubs to join, and I think when you become a member of Trenton Country Club and decide to become a member of Trenton Country Club, one of the things that I believe attracts people here is the history of this building itself and the history of the land. Trenton is a changing area, but this location, this home, really does revert back to and remind people of the history of this region. George Washington coming through the region with his troops during the American Revolutionary War. So I hope that members in the future, whether I'm still a member or long gone, continue to put the capital resources into this facility that will allow the tradition and the history of this club to be very visible. While we continue to improve the golf course and the swimming facilities and the tennis facilities and the platform tennis facilities and everything that the membership really wants.
I think it's important to recognize our history, which we've talked about. I think it's also important to underscore we are a member-owned and operated club. And by that I mean the members own the club. We have advisors, we have staff that we're very fortunate to have that really put a great program together. And with the volunteers at the club that really make this club go, I think we put out a great product. We're very proud of our workforce, and it does help solidify the professional standing of our workforce, and that really makes the whole ambiance at Trenton something very special.
Well, hope you enjoyed that little history lesson from Trenton Country Club. All right, stay with us, because up next, it's a look back at the recent Pennsylvania Open, and it had Philly written all over it. That's next on Inside Golf.
The Golf Association of Philadelphia. Founded in 1897, GAP is the nation's oldest regional or state golf association. We serve amateur golf in Eastern PA, Southern New Jersey, and all of Delaware. GAP welcomes all golfers, junior or senior, male or female, public or private. Join the Golf Association of Philadelphia today. Our mission is always to preserve, protect, and promote the great game of golf. Before you tee it up, look us up. Visit gapgolf.org to find out more.
John planned his dream golf trip himself. The hotel didn't live up to the photos. His transportation was late, his clubs got lost, so he had to use rentals, which he is now breaking. But you booked your trip with All Access. They planned your hotels, food, car service, and tea times. Don't be like John. Be smart like these two.
Psycho.
All Access, the smart way to book your golf vacation.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. Llanerch Country Club is no stranger to hosting big-time events. This year, no exception when Llanerch hosted the Pennsylvania Open. Let's take a look. After 2 rounds, the final day featured a clear storyline. Patrick Sheehan and Anthony Sebastianelli. They went out tied at 6 under par. Sheehan, who is the reigning Pennsylvania Golf Association Player of the Year, opened with an even par 70, but then, boy, did he surge. A second round 64, and it was highlighted by 8 birdies and a 31 on the back 9. Sebastianelli matched consistency with control. He posted a second straight under par card to share the lead and earn a seat in the final pairing. Sheehan signaled intent immediately. Birdies on the first 2 holes established a narrow cushion. Sebastianelli answered at the 5th hole with an eagle, and that squared the match again. Llanerch's front 9 did not yield easily. It never does. The slopes around the targets pushed anything imprecise into recovery zones, and separated under pressure meant covering mid-range pars and then trying to move on.
You know, bogeys can, compound pretty quick out here especially, and to not let those get to me and to make those key putts was a big help going into the back 9.
Through the middle of the back 9, Sheehan managed position. Fairways first, center green second. The run of pars finally broke at the 13th with a birdie. And when Sebastianelli gave back shots on numbers 13 and 14, that margin widened. Another birdie at the 16th hole moves Sheehan 2 ahead with 2 to play. And a composed finish. 2 pars on 17 and 18 closed it out. Sheehan's final round 66 capped a 10-under performance across the last 2 days and produced a winning total of 200, 2 strokes clear of Sebastianelli. The card read 70, 64, 66. Steady early, assertive late. It marked another state championship for a player in his first year as a professional, balancing a PGA Tour America's schedule with a return to a championship that he clearly valued.
I was really happy when I saw that this was open on my schedule, that I could make it once I made it onto America's, that this was in the off week. And I love playing in state and local events, and being a pro now, this is the only one I get to play in. So I definitely wanted to win it, especially after winning the Seagull and the AM last year. So it was definitely something I wanted to check off. So it feels good to do it.
The depth of the field showed in the names clustered just behind. Riley Wheeldon and defending champion Jake Solon shared 3rd place at 6 under par, while Braden Shattuck, who has become the Philadelphia section's recent standard bearer in multiple events, finished 5th at 5 under. Always our pleasure to be back at Llanerch for any big event, especially something like the Pennsylvania Open. All right, stay with us, because up next we have one of GAP's majors in the lineup today. It is the Patterson Cup. That's next on Inside Golf. Welcome back. Inside Golf continues now with a look at one of GAP's majors. Yes, the Golf Association of Philadelphia went to Waynesborough for the Patterson Cup this year, and it included a Hall of Famer. He wasn't hitting the ball, he was toting the bag. That's right, we had a baseball Hall of Famer as a caddy for his son. That's just part of the story. Here's the full story from GAP's Marty Emino.
Hunter Stetson knew the conclusion of the 123rd Joseph H. Patterson Cup was going to be something special, quite possibly historic. Just listen.
For everyone here, and Hunter Stetson, can you come up, please, and receive your trophy? Congratulations.
The result was a breakthrough victory in the Joseph H. Patterson Cup, presented by Provident Bank at Waynesborough Country Club. This was the final GAP major of the season. The 19-year-old Stetson, a sophomore at North Carolina State, defeated the juggernaut known as Drew Nicholas. Yes, the same Drew Nicholas, with 2 major victories this year on the 3rd playoff hole. A fairway, a green, and a 2-putt par on Waynesborough's 2nd hole propelled the brawny ball striker Stetson to victory. It also ended a remarkable run at history. Nicholas, who plays out of Galloway National Golf Club, was looking to become the first player in GAP history to win the BMW Philadelphia Amateur the Philadelphia Open and the Patterson Cup in one season.
I'm super pleased. This would have been a cherry on top. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to win this one already, so obviously we want to win everything, but to have this one already won would have just been, like a bonus.
Instead, Stetson earned 2 pieces of hardware. In addition to the Patterson Cup, he also captured the Silver Cross Award. Stetson, ironically enough, outlasted Nicklaus by 2 shots in that race. But back to the Patterson Cup. Nicklaus and Stetson ended the 54 holes of regulation tied at 3 under. And both had a look for the win on the final hole. This Nicklaus birdie try on 18 dried up short. Stetson gave himself 2 chances. He first pulled the string on this approach from about 80 yards and watched it hit reverse and whiz back past the hole. His ensuing birdie putt from the fringe hit a pebble en route and stopped just short. In the playoff, both players made routine pars on the first 2 holes. The playoff rotation was number 2, number 3, and around again. Each player went fairway, green, and 2 putts on the first 2 holes. The 3rd hole provided us a result. Both found the fairway, with Nicklaus playing his approach shot first. He flared a 3-iron from 218 yards into the right greenside bunker. Stetson fouled with a prodigious 6-iron from 194 yards to 25 feet. Nicklaus escaped the sand, but his 12-footer for par rolled past the edge. Stetson canned a 3-footer for the win. Gallery claps and an emphatic fist pump followed.
I haven't really had a big win at all in my career. I've had a lot of good tournaments. I won an AJGA, which probably was my biggest thing, but winning this is a whole nother level. Playing against some amazing amateurs from the area, and just winning the oldest tournament in all of amateur golf in the country. I mean, that's pretty special. So just as long as I keep doing what I've been doing all tournament, which is just sticking to my routine, trusting that my golf is good enough to win tournaments, I knew that no matter the position I was at, I can handle what's ahead of me.
Stetson and Peyton Musina of Waynesborough Country Club tied for the lead after round 1. There was a cut to the low 40 players and ties, and Patterson Cup Day 2 was 36 holes. After the morning 18, Musina had a 1-shot lead over Zach Drescher of Bent Creek. Stetson was 3 back, and Nicklaus, believe it or not, was 7 shots back. That was before chaos ensued and the leaderboard turned volatile. Musina would fall back and needed this chip on the final hole to fall to join the group at 3 under. His eagle attempt just lipped out. Congrats to Hunter Stetson on writing his own piece of history. Reporting for GAP, I'm Marty Emino.
Hello everyone, Joanna Coe here from Marion Golf Club. Practicing from a fairway bunker is a really valuable tool to not only improve your iron play, but improve your performance on the golf course from a fairway bunker. So it's all about controlling the bottom of your swing. So what I want you to do is draw a line in the fairway bunker. This is for practice only, not for play. You're gonna line up to that line, and I wanna see where you actually strike the sand. It should be in front of the line. Your common higher index players will tilt back to try to lift the golf ball from off the sand, and now their low point is behind the line. So keys to crisp irons is hitting the golf ball first, and that is so true in the fairway bunker to get your maximum distance and height out of the bunker. The last thing we want to do out of a fairway bunker is hit it fat or hit it really thin right into the lip. So now I'm going to put that golf ball on the line. I'm going to maybe choke up just a little bit, ball position a hair farther back, but I'm going to make sure that I shift my weight forward to hit golf ball first and really drive it out of here. So as you can see again, my divot was in front of the line. So this is a great drill that gives you immediate feedback of where the bottom of your swing is.
Yep,
Just as I suspected, your entire family is too plugged in. Now, there's a treatment. Your offline oasis awaits in Montgomery County, PA. You may experience moments of euphoria, a rush of culinary cravings, a lot less screen time, and more we time. You may even reconnect with nature. Unplug in Montgomery County, PA. Side effects may include budget-friendly fun and memories that will last a lifetime.
Hi, Tony Salucci with the Beacon Group of Companies. If your company has between 50 and 500 employees enrolled in your health insurance plan, there's a really good chance we can reduce your costs significantly and increase the benefits employees receive. How do we do it? We put you together with several thousand employers of a similar size across the country so your company can get amazing buying power. Schedule a conversation with one of our employee benefits specialists today at mybeacongroup.com.
That's it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. Our thanks go out to the folks at Trenton Country Club, also the people at Llanerch and Waynesborough for letting us kind of be there when a little history was made at all three of those championship venues. All right, stay with us because next week, you can tell where I'm at. Concord Country Club, the 104th edition of the Philadelphia section of the PGA's Championship. And this place has really hosted it, I think it's like 9 times. In fact, Concord was the site of the very first section championship, and this is number 104. So you go way back when it comes to Concord and the Philadelphia section of the PGA. Certainly going to be an interesting week again for the Philadelphia section of the PGA next week here on Inside Golf. We'll see you then. The 28th season of Inside Golf is presented by Destination Montco Golf, the First Tee of Greater Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Association of Golf Course Superintendents, the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, Jersey Man and Philly Man Magazine, and Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia section of the PGA.